Good afternoon. This is the first day of European Economic Congress in Katowice, and our special guest today is Andrew Bester, head of Wholesale Banking ING Group.
Thank you.
We welcome you warmly here in Katowice. I know that you are, let's say, satisfied. You are satisfied with Katowice as a city, but of course we will talk about banking, but also about Poland. And my first question is, because you are the representative of international leading bank, and what is your perspective? How can you evaluate Poland, where we are as a country?
So maybe firstly, ING we operate across 40 countries. Poland is a very important business for us, our fifth largest business for ING's wholesale banking business. So in terms of Poland, it's been a good, very strong 3 years for our business, good growth across the business, and that's really come through in various ways. What we see is more clients as they look to what they need to do around nearshoring, looking to take opportunities within Poland. Obviously, we help our Polish companies think about how they expand outside across our 23 markets in Europe. So overall, actually, been a fairly good time for us, and business has been pretty resilient despite all the uncertainties that we've had with geopolitics and the like.
But is it Poland the most important market for you in Central Europe?
Yeah, so for us, the Central Eastern European markets are important. We've been here for 30 years across all the markets in Central Eastern Europe. Poland is our biggest business in Central Eastern Europe, so it's very important. But for our global clients, what ING does in Central Eastern Europe is a very important part of our client proposition, because we help some of the largest companies and financial institutions as they think about their global businesses. So whether that's supporting the largest companies in Japan, Taiwan, Korea, or indeed the largest European multinationals in Western Europe, or indeed the American multinationals.
As we probably all know, we can state that we are living in interesting times. Pandemia, the war in Ukraine, Russian aggression, or also trade wars between China and US before. So what about Poland? In terms of, is it good situation? Can Poland benefit, or is it situation a little bit, let's say, dangerous for our country? How do you evaluate?
To your general point, there's the one constant has been change. Whether it's the pandemic, whether it's the tragic events that have unfolded in Russia and Ukraine. And what I see is that Poland has been very resilient. It's been able to adjust its economy despite some of the uncertainties. Companies have low levels of debt, so lots of liquidity. So actually, from an overall point of view, I feel like the Polish economy, indeed Polish business, has been able to respond resiliently and well. So actually, as we look at it right now, you have underlying GDP growth in the 3 to 4% range this year, real wage growth. You have the best part of probably 100 billion zlotys of funding potentially coming from restitution from Europe. So actually, there's quite a set of resilient backdrops. Now, to your point, there's uncertainties around geopolitics. What happens with Russia, Ukraine? How does that impact the Polish economy? But what I've seen in my 3 years at ING, looking at our Polish business, is we've been resilient in what we've done, but also continue to see good prospects for growth.
I think that our businesses, our small and medium enterprises, are not only resilient but also agile.
I think that's fair. I think, to your point, I think it has been agile, and we service what I described earlier, some of the largest companies in the world, both in their needs here, but also we have a very big business banking business in Poland, and the same trends there. We continue to see them adjust to new technologies, having to adjust to new supply chains. One of the things that we are seeing is the supply chains are also changing. So the way that companies are thinking about that, and that's creating opportunity for Polish companies, whether that's for supply chains into Germany, whether that's global companies relooking at their whole global supply chain and where they position some of their strategic activities. So Polish small business and large business has benefited from that.
But talking about changing in supplies, do you really observe that, let's say, the biggest world companies are leaving China? Because so really...
Look, the reality is that China is a hugely important part of all the global supply chains. What we are seeing is companies re-looking at the nature of their supply chain. So looking at what the alternatives are in terms of thinking about their supply chain, what the resilience of the supply chain is, how are they thinking about sourcing product, what parts of the manufacturing process are done in certain countries. And again, what I'm seeing in terms of high value add in the Polish economy is it's adjusting well to that. Maybe bring that to life with some examples. You know, we've been bringing a number of our US clients here, bringing our French clients, our German clients, and having discussions on how they think about those supply chains. The same trend with our large Korean and Japanese clients. So we're seeing a lot more interest in how they think about the supply chain. But yeah, China is a hugely important part of the global economy. It's going to remain a hugely important part. But what we do see is people looking at their supply chain and critically evaluating the resilience.
And now let's talk about a little bit about ESG, non-financial reporting, because it's let's say new duty not only for large companies, but first of all for them, but then also for small and medium enterprises sector. So what about this?
Yeah. So I think when you think about what's happening across transition and what has become the topic of ESG, you can either see it as a threat or an opportunity. The reality is we do need to transition the economy to a greener future. What we're seeing is lots of companies actually, rather than seeing that as a threat to their future, actually see it as an opportunity to think about how they
look. It's rather threat than chance. Yes.
Yeah. So look at the business. Look at where you are today, and then deal with the reality of how you rethink. How you rethink your energy, how you source your energy. Think about how you work in different value chains to think about how you might source, whether it's your energy needs, how you might think about your business model. So what we're seeing, and I look at us as in the banking business, we're very active and we're a pioneer in sustainability as a bank and one of the global leaders. So to bring that to life, we financed some 120 billion of sustainable financing last year for our clients across the world. But what we have seen and the way we think about it is actually how do we help clients in that transition? And that involves real companies thinking and us working in them in an inclusive way to take their company from where it is today to be able to transition itself over the next 10 or 15 years. And that's where it's exciting. It's an opportunity for boardrooms to rethink where their business is and rather than seeing the threats, see how they evolve their business to that future. And if you get that sort of thinking happening in your company, not only are you preparing your company for the long term, but you're also challenging some of the dominant logic that you potentially have had in your business over the last 10, 15 years.
So I understand that the bank is ready to assist our entrepreneurs. Finally, I would like to talk a little bit about another challenge. I mean, digital revolution. It's also, let's say, can be an obstacle for especially small and medium enterprises. What's your opinion on it?
So my view is that you need to embrace what's happening from a technology and digital point of view. And to the point that we started with, change is everywhere and you either embrace it or you see it as a threat. But when I think of what's happening in areas like artificial intelligence, it starts to challenge a little bit the way it is. Equally within that, there are opportunities to think more, to work more productively. So when I look at what we do at ING, we do a lot of innovative work around getting artificial intelligence and generative artificial intelligence to think about how we can improve our own customer service. And I think the companies of the future, rather than again see the threat, they embrace it, they look at their own existing ways of working and embrace their technology to the future. These are very big changes, but the best companies adjust, they see the opportunity, and then they think about how to create opportunity for the people in their organization.
Thank you very much for our conversation, and let me remind our audience that our special guest was Andrew Bester, Head of Wholesale Banking in ING Group.
Thank you very much.